Hello, St. John's Prep. I'd like to thank you guys for all your support this Lenten season, for doing this fundraiser for my charity, Atlantic Aid, to aid those in need in Ukraine. We all appreciate it so much, and I put together this little presentation to show you guys where your donations are going and how much help we are giving to the Ukrainian people. Again, thank you so much. It wouldn't be possible without you guys. So I moved to Ukraine in August of 2021 to teach English. I lived in Ukraine for about 6 months, teaching English to IT professionals in the capital of Kiev. I had a great life in Ukraine, lots of great friends. Ukraine's a beautiful country with lots of beautiful people, incredibly friendly people, and an incredibly welcoming society. When the war began on February 24th, 2022, I left Ukraine and went to Romania, where I worked for 3 months in a refugee camp in northern Romania. While in northern Romania, I helped resettle Ukrainian refugees all across Europe, and we helped raise money to supply the military with supplies, and we helped evacuate civilians from all over Ukraine. I returned to America last summer for about 3 months, and while back in Minnesota, I got the idea from a friend in Ukraine to start our own charity. We named it Atlantic Aid. He's from England, I'm from America, so across the Atlantic Ocean. Our idea was to help villages on the front lines of the war by supplying them with food, clothing, blankets, medicine, and basically just anything they would need in their daily lives. Many of these villages have been completely destroyed. Many of them had been occupied by Russian soldiers, and many of them had lost family members and friends in recent months. So we focused mainly on the Kharkiv region in far eastern Ukraine. This video is about 10 miles from the Russian border. Most of this road was fought over in the first few days of the war. The Russians bombed this area completely, and in an attempt to occupy the city of Kharkiv. So we operated in this region mainly because we had some friends there who could help us figure out how to get supplies to these villages, because it's not so simple in some regions, because you must navigate the military checkpoints. Some of these roads have landmines on them, so you can't go on them. In fact, in this village, in this video, there was a volunteer killed a couple months after this video was taken by a landmine, so you had to be very careful. So yes, we always needed to have locals with us to navigate these difficult areas. This is our small team. There's actually 2 more members who aren't pictured. I'm on the far left there with the orange elbows. It consisted of 3 or 4 Ukrainian men, and then myself, and then my friend from England. And we would work together pretty much every weekend. We would buy bags of supplies from a local market, and we'd load up the supplies into about 30 bags on Saturday and 30 bags on Sunday. Each bag was about 40 pounds of food and supplies for local villagers. This picture was taken in the city of Izium. Izium is kind of famous in Ukraine. There was a mass murder there. The Ukrainian military found over 600 bodies, mainly of civilians, buried in the forest that the Russians had murdered. We spent a lot of time distributing to this area because it was in need of help, as you can see from this picture. Actually, in this building, there were like 3 or 4 old women living there alone, with no power, no water, no heat. We gave them double supplies because they had it so rough. But we focused on this Izium region for quite a while because they needed so much help. In many of these areas, we were the only humanitarian aid charity operating in these regions, because many of these regions were way too dangerous for most humanitarian funds to operate in. As you can see, we all have body armor and helmets on. This video actually was in one of the most dangerous places in all of Ukraine while it was taken, in the village of Kupiansk. While in many of these villages, we were routinely shelled by enemy mortar fire, rockets nearby. It's difficult to say whether they were aiming at us or Ukrainian military nearby, but nonetheless, it would be quite frightening. I think the closest we had to us was about 100 yards away. We had a cruise missile land near us. That is a very large rocket. that is capable of destroying like several large buildings, and landing 100 yards from us was quite frightening. So this crater is the work of an S-300 rocket. This is in someone's backyard. It's about 20 feet from someone's front door. Just down the hall, or just down the road, was several more buildings that weren't so lucky, and they got hit directly, and they were turned into complete rubble. This is also in the city of Izium. The city was about 50,000 people before the war. Now it is completely destroyed, as you can see. This is actually near the city center, where normally there'd be people living, and it's completely abandoned. This is a pretty typical food drop. We'd go into an old woman's house, talk to her, tell her everything will be okay, give her food, and we usually were met with kindness, occasionally some coffee or vodka shots from the friendly Ukrainians. But the people were incredibly grateful, and they were shocked to see an American so close to the front lines, and they were so thankful for all the support that America has given them. So for 3 months, I spent every weekend near the front line in Ukraine. After that, I returned to America, but my mission continues in Ukraine. We still have a whole team operating in eastern Ukraine, delivering food, supplies, blankets, medicine weekly to soldiers and to civilians in need. So your money will be going to continue this effort in eastern Ukraine. We've actually expanded into southern Ukraine also. We've done a few supply runs there. This video is a time lapse of us moving supplies into the house. During this video, we were actually being bombed in this neighborhood. This is actually in Kharkiv City. We have also recently helped fund some military groups to repair their ambulances to help evacuate injured soldiers and civilians from the front lines. And we have also supplied a friend of mine who is fighting in the Foreign Legion. We have supplied him several packages of winter gear and some new body armor for him to keep him safe and comfortable while he's fighting. But mainly we are focused on helping civilians because the military already is receiving a lot of help, and many of these civilian populations aren't getting any help without us. So we are mainly focusing on them. And as the war shifts, we are shifting further east. As the front line goes east, so do our volunteers. So we are getting close to entering a new region of Ukraine, far, far east, in Lugansk region. We are hoping to continue our efforts. We have enough funding for at least a year, but the more money we get, the more we can fund, the more people we can help. We've helped thousands of families with tens of thousands of pounds of food and medicine and supplies. So we're just trying to keep that going and keep our momentum to help Ukraine win this war and help keep people safe. So again, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for your support, financially, prayers, any support online, supporting the Ukrainian cause is much appreciated. If you guys want to follow along with our journey in Eastern Ukraine, you can follow our Instagram page. It's just Atlantic_aid. We're posting videos, pictures of every supply run we do. So if you want to see where your money is going, or if you're just interested in what's going on over there, feel free to follow us. But again, thank you guys so much. And we're going to keep doing our work. Thanks to you guys.